This episode of the Grappler Union podcast is brought to you by Diamond MMA. Start protecting your boys with the best groin protection on the planet. Black belts such as Gary Tonin, Eddie Cummings, and Joe Rogan all trust their family jewels with Diamond MMA. Enter the code Grappler Union at checkout and save 15% off all your Diamond products. Go to diamondmma.com today. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Grappler Union Podcast. Paul Maloney alongside Anthony Zito. On this episode, we have Leo Valdes in studio. Leo's a third-degree black belt in Judo under Irwin Cohen, and he's a second-degree black belt in Jiu Jitsu under Comprido. He's also the owner and head instructor of Randori Jiu Jitsu. Enjoy.
I need the 6 minutes. That's what happens in that 6 minutes.
You told me, using any technique that works, never to limit myself to one style. Keep an open mind.
We're not here to take part, we're here to take over.
In order to become more peaceful, in order for you to become better and strategize your life.
Right. So Leo and Zito were just nerding out about skateboards in the office.
Of course.
Leo, you skated back in the day?
Yeah, I was one of those skaters, just a glutton for punishment all the way back then.
Oh, yeah?
Ripped up knees, elbows.
Of course. Yep.
Road rash, you know.
Yeah. Anything we could skate back in the day, we would.
Like
huge boards.
Grinding rails and all that shit?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess there was some rails. It was mostly those parking blocks.
Parking blocks, yeah.
A lot of those parking blocks.
Oh, those things that like stop your car from...
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Like your wheels touch it and you know when to put the car in park.
Slide.
Gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, it was hard to find stuff back in the day.
It was.
Now, did you guys like have to like wax the thing too?
Yeah, I mean, I used they had sex wax back in the day.
The skaters, the roller bladers that used to grind, they would have to like wax shit. You know?
No, I never waxed like the concrete or anything like that. No.
Yeah.
But I waxed the deck.
Yeah,
for sure.
So skateboards don't require waxing the shit you're about to grind on.
I mean, nowadays I noticed that they do that
nowadays. Back then we weren't that sophisticated.
No, we weren't. We didn't know. We're like, why is this not working? It works so well in the movies.
Right.
We didn't know all those tricks.
So you guys could like kickflip and do all those things.
Yeah. I could do all
back
that.
then. I was able to do some of that.
Yeah.
I can still ollie actually.
Can you?
Yeah.
What could you ollie over right now?
I don't know. What
right now.
Right now,
Could you ollie over like a gallon of milk or something?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know. not perfectly straight. It took me a couple
quarter.
times. A quarter.
Ollie over
The crack in the sidewalk, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. There we go. That's what I can do now. That's at the level that I've been reduced to.
What about
now.
your heyday? Like how up would you get?
I would get at least 3 or 4 decks up. So we would stack the decks.
Yeah.
And then.
That's pretty good.
Damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
What about you, Leo?
I don't think I could jump that high, but like maybe like, you know, something like that, like a deck and a half high like that, like we're one up and then one side, you know.
Right.
But not, I used to like to jump those little street ramps, do like some little small tricks off the street ramps and then just like grind.
Yeah.
You know, it was just like urban grinder, like.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
It's fun.
I mean,
Give me a thrill, you know.
You see these kids and they're jumping stairs and everything
Oh, it's
and
crazy.
landing
Doing
it.
crazy
You know, I'm
stuff.
like, dude, if I even like, I think my ankle broke just watching that. You know.
I know. Well, what's interesting is how I stopped skateboarding. Man, it's tragic. So what happened was I was in high school, Elizabeth High School, and my father he's a big advocate of non-smokers. But back in that day, I used to smoke, and you know all my friends smoked. You know, it's kind of like we're cool, we're all smoking cigarettes. Well, he caught me smoking and like took my skateboard away. I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, no, you're done. And he said he brought it to work and cut it in half.
And then brought it, make you smoke it.
Yeah, right. No, but then I was like, okay, that's it. So
Hanging out with the Thrashers.
Right,
He was
right.
trying to put a stop to it.
So after he took my skateboard, I was like, all right, well, I gotta find something else to do now. And I stopped I never skateboard after that. And then like years later, I'm like, hey, Dad, did you cut my skateboard in half? Really? He goes, no, it's in the garage. I mean, you fucking serious? It's been in the garage for 8-10 years. It's been sitting in the garage collecting dust. So I'm like, where'd you put it? He goes, it's on top because I thought you knew that. I'm like, no, how would I know that?
Yeah.
So I grabbed it, and it was my Tommy Guerrero one with the flame sword on it. It's pretty cool.
So it was like preserved now, like since
it's a little rusted, but on the trucks now. But yeah, I guess. But since then, I misplaced it, so I don't know where it's at now at all. Otherwise, it'd be here.
Go ask your dad.
I know, maybe he took it back. I don't know. But I do. I mean, then I started longboarding, years later.
Cool.
And I enjoy that.
Started to get classier as time went on. Now you're doing jiu-jitsu at 40.
Right.
Now they're finally proud of you.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Well, Leo and I are very close in age. He's 43.
Yeah, I'm 43.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. And when did you start doing jiu-jitsu?
Oh, I started doing jiu-jitsu like in the 90s. I actually came from judo. I started doing judo when I was 5.
Wow.
In the Tinley Park. My dad's from Cuba, and he did judo in Cuba, so he came here. He's like, you need to, I want to get you in judo. Like, I was more of a quiet kid. So I started at the local park district doing judo, and I started excelling there. And when I was about 8 years old, he brought me to this place called Uptown Dojo, which is run by Steve and Irwin Cohen. They were like the Cohen brothers, And
yeah, Javi trains with them, I think.
Yeah. They're awesome coaches, and not that my coach in the park district wasn't good. He was an awesome coach too, but these guys, they travel a lot. So now I started to travel, and like by the time I was like 9, I was traveling doing competitions,
wow.
Finding a little place, So, and these guys, their judo was on a whole nother level. My coach Irwin, he was an Olympian, and he was like kind of took to me since I got there, and took me under his wings, showed me stuff that I use all the time. He showed me my droppy ponso nagin. That's like one of my. If people normally people who fight against me know that's my move.
That's your go-to.
I still use that, yeah. But yeah, it was an awesome experience with those guys. I mean, it was a whole nother level. I mean, we had training camps getting ready for nationals that were from 11 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. And that started when I was probably 8 and went all the way until I was like in my teens. So it was like some serious stuff, for 2 weeks it was like 2.5 weeks preceding.
So any like Olympic, like.
So I never I won national championships. I won 2 national championships as a teen, and I won American Canadian Games a few times. But my teammates, they would win this all the time. So and I placed a bunch of times in nationals. And about the time the Olympics came to roll around, man, I was so burnt out on judo, and my dad was really unhappy with that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So he was really unhappy about that, and I was like, look, I just don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of wearing the gi, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's like, just like that poster you got, the Ultimate Fighting Championship showed up about 1993. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, that looks pretty cool. And at the time I was dating this girl, and we went to see this Bruce Lee movie, I don't know what that movie's called, Dragon, I think it is.
Enter the Dragon?
No, it wasn't Enter the Dragon. It was like the remake, And so she's like, oh, don't you do that martial arts stuff? I was like, yeah. She's like, I want to do this, So I was like, oh, sure. If we were girls when you're 18, I was like, yeah, of course, whatever you want to do. So,
the remake of the
remake,
the Dragon with that one guy.
Right.
Bruce Lee's story.
Yeah, the story of Bruce Lee.
The story. Okay, yes.
Bruce Lee, like L.I.? Is that
No.
No,
This was a remake of his story.
I forgot what the actor's name is.
It's called The Dragon.
Yeah, it's called The Dragon. Yeah.
But he's a lot thicker than Bruce Lee.
Yeah, he's a lot more. It's like the Hollywood version.
Exactly.
He's like, about 200 pounds.
Yeah, he was like just jacked.
Hulked out Bruce.
Hulked
Bruce Lee. Right.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure, let's try it out. And just so happened, I had moved downtown at the time, so there was a school that taught kung fu that was like 3 blocks away. So I was like, perfect. It has nothing to do with judo. I'm not going to be wrestling anybody, nothing. Yeah. Something totally different. Get to punch people in the face. So this is such a different relief. So I just kind of went in there with her for fun. And at the beginning, they ask you to fill out a questionnaire. Have you ever done any martial arts? What experience do you have? So I put, judo black belt. Well, a little bit after the no holds bar came out, fighting championship, the guy was like, hey, you do that grappling stuff, don't you? And I was like, yeah. He's like, you want to teach some judo classes? So I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't have money. So that's how I started going. Then a little bit after that, somebody came and offered me like a bare knuckle, fight, like an no holds bar fighting. being like a really smart 19-year-old with no health insurance, I was not getting paid for it. Sure, I'll take the fight. Fight 2-3 people in one night, no health insurance, no gloves. Yeah, absolutely. No money? Sign me up.
It's the 90s. What the fuck?
Yeah, of course, So, well, as I started doing that, I realized, man, I'm like, there was some gaps in my mat work when I started fighting some of the people. And we used to like get together sometimes at that Gold's Gym that used to be on, there's a Gold's Gym back then, like I think it was Halstead, and I think it was 800 Halstead downtown. And so we'd fight, and it was more like different styles back then, So, we might have some karate guys being like, I don't believe in the grappling, or, boxers. So I really, it was guys like, I was on some shows like with guys like Shoney. I fought in Ironheart. There's a couple other venues too, like they had like a Chicago Fight Challenge and stuff like that were going on back then. They were kind of, pioneering and stuff. So it was cool to see that evolve, but it's very difficult to explain to people that you were what you did. They thought you were like, oh, you're crazy, you're barbarian, And I was like, no, listen, there's an art behind it. So, but anyways, when I was doing that, I got to see this, like there were some gaps in my mat work. So I'm like, I gotta get cracking. So it was very difficult because there wasn't any jiu-jitsu really back then. There was nobody, as a matter of fact. There was just in California. And then so I had my student, Jeff Neal. He went to go train with Carly Gracie. I was, this is probably 1994, 95. And so he was like there. He's like, man, it was really awesome. He came back and stuff. And so I thought, I better get moving with this stuff. So
How long did you train with him for?
This was back, probably, he's probably with me for like 2 years, like a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah. And then Jeff kind of facilitated like a relationship with Carlson and, talk, and try to help them out. And then he ended up kind of helping Carlson move to Chicago. And so he was the guy who but Jeff Neal was actually my first judo student. Okay. A long time ago. Wow. He's a cool guy. I still see him every once in a while. We used to joke around and have a lot of fun back in the day. But it's, now we just look at each other and smile and nod, But so it's been a long road, in the evolution of it now. And eventually, got to dropping the MMA. It wasn't pain. It was at the time where I stopped, it was on a downslide.
But you were pretty successful in it.
I was doing really good with the MMA. Like the problem was it was like the paydays were horrendous, and so you'd get paid, $1,000 for like training for 3-4 months to get you one fight, and then, I'd be training like 6 hours, 7 hours a day. Yeah. And then, there was nowhere to, you couldn't really teach because nobody was really that interested back then. And then, you get family pressure, be like, you need to get a real job.
Right, yeah. But yeah, you had an amazing record. Like you were 13-0 as an amateur.
I was, yeah.
And 10-2 as a pro.
And 10-2 as a pro, yeah.
And all finishes, right? All your wins were finishes.
All finish, all knockout, and all submission. And all submission. The two fights that I lost is I just was gassed. I was a really explosive fighter, and that's one of the things when I got back into jiu-jitsu, like I try to go back and change that because judo is a very explosive sport. Like if you watch it, but sometimes like in MMA things just don't go that way. People get slippery, and like you can't take them down. And like
even with Rhonda, like the last couple of losses she had, it was because she just exploded and just didn't game plan. Just went right into it.
Yeah, the one thing that like. I even actually wrote this on one of her sites, but so many people write this stuff. But I thought to myself, as a judo, as in my brain, like I always was a judo fighter when I was going into the MMA ring, and I thought, first of all, I spent so many years at grappling, and when it got to striking, I really loved to strike. So I'm like, I was very aggressive. I might not have been the most technical person, but I really liked to unload. So I would come after people like unloading hard.
And Vitor Belfort?
Yeah, like I loved it. Like I remember seeing Vanderlei Silva, and I was like stars in my eyes, and I'm like, I'm doing that. The next time Vitor, I'm doing that. Yeah. So what I would try to do is, make them like I would strike at them, and when they start trading back at me, I would cover in body lock, or when they would shoot on me, and then I sprawl, and either way I got to, lock up with them, and then I would get my grips, and then we'll try to work takedowns and stay on top and the ground and pound, but I was, there was a lot of weird stuff with weight classes back then. Like I had fights where I was like 150 pounds and the guy was like 200 pounds, so. Oh, wow. There was a big push for us to get bigger, So everybody wanted to get to 200 pounds,
Really?
So I started off like as a guy who was probably like 150 pounds and then probably ended up at like 215 over like a period of time. But the problem is like at 150 pounds, I was used to fighting with endless endurance.
Right.
And then all of a sudden I changed to be 205.
But you're not very tall.
No, I'm not. I'm like 5'10". Like, so I was like, you can't put my arms down, dude. Like,
yeah.
As a matter of fact, I saw some old video of myself. I'm like, who's this jerk? And this, I was like, oh, that's me walking around like that. I was like, saw myself from behind. I was like, oh, God. But so,
what do you weigh now?
Right now, I'm a little under 200. I compete in IBJJF at heavyweight because I started to get to like be difficult to drop to 194.5, and I was just like, at 40 years old, I'm like, forget it.
Yeah.
I'm just deal with it.
So you're Masters 3 now, right?
Masters 3. Yeah. Which I was surprised, man, because like a few years ago, there'd be nobody, but now like Masters 3 is like stacked.
Yeah.
I just saw like, I think it was Pans, Master 3, and there was like 12 people in the division, 12, 13 people.
Wow.
For
black belts.
For black belts. And when I try to tell people, it's like, Saulo Ribeiro, he's in division, but I try to tell people, I'm like, hey, when you fight a master's division black belt, I'm like, you're not fighting a normal athlete. No. Because who in the hell at 40 years old is going to be wanting to wrestle and try to choke somebody out? You're fighting a guy who's tougher than an average person. This guy at 40 years old, while most people are sitting on the couch drinking beer, getting fat, like this guy is flying across the country to go choke somebody.
Right.
Yeah. So,
exactly.
Like, he's out there wanting to break somebody's arm and stuff. So I'm like, you're fighting a tough dude, So, and like my coach Comprido, like, you could end up fighting him in Masters Division. Yeah. You could fight, I think it was Flavio Almeida, I saw him, that guy's a monster too. Lovato is in, Yeah. So it has evolved a lot. So the competition's getting stiffer.
So what belt rank were you in jiu-jitsu when you had most of your MMA fights?
The highest that I fought at, I was purple belt for jiu-jitsu. So after purple belt, I stopped fighting. I was in my early 30s when I was purple belt in jiu-jitsu. So I didn't start jiu-jitsu probably till I was 27 or 20. No, I guess maybe 25, like something like that. I was in my 20s,
Yeah.
And after that, like I was just like, one day I was in the shower and my body was aching. I'm like, you know what? I'm done with MMA. I'm just gonna do the jiu-jitsu. I still love it. I still coach some guys, but once in a while I see this stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get in the cage one more time.
Right.
Next morning I wake up. I'm like, what was it? No, I'm not. No, I'm done with that.
Yeah. But at least you compete regularly in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
right?
I do compete. Yeah. This past year I've been busy, like some stuff, but I haven't got that much of a chance. But the last few years I have competed a lot. I had some injuries I was trying to get over, and trying to get some stuff organized for the gym and that. But I want to see if I get back in and go do Masters Worlds this year.
It's in August as well. Right?
Yeah,
I'm thinking about doing that as well in Vegas.
Yeah, it's a fun one because they changed it to Vegas, and Vegas is Vegas. Yeah, so it's fun.
Yeah, I know a few of our teammates are going to the Worlds in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Andre's going. He's going. Christina. I think Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so that should be interesting.
Yeah, it's always an awesome experience going to Worlds.
Yeah. But this is just gi, right? The Worlds.
This one's just gi.
Just gi, right?
Yeah. The no gi one is usually towards the end of October and November.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you competed at both? Gi and
no-gi?
no-gi?
Yeah, I've competed at both. Like I won the no gi Worlds in 2014 in my division. I was Masters 2 at that time. But it's kind of weird. Like I had the gi all my life from judo, but sometimes it seems to succeed more with no gi.
We've heard that. Mark Viva said the same thing.
Says
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why either.
It's weird. Like
and that is.
And I'm not a wrestler. Like I know wrestling, but I'm a judo player, and so we like to get our grips and throw you.
Right.
So you'd think it'd be harder, you know, but
Right.
I don't know why, but it ends up like that. My daughter actually said the same thing to me. She's like, I hate no gi. She went on to the last Newbury tournament, subbed everybody, threw everybody.
That's awesome.
One, and she's like, I still don't like it. I'm like, yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I'm like, you know, I was like, I know, I see the same thing. I don't know what happened, but.
So when did you open up your school?
I opened Randori Jiu Jitsu in 2010, in fall of 2010. I think it was like end of summer, fall of 2010. I called it Randori Jiu Jitsu because I liked the connection with Judo, you know, and like Randori means to like control chaos, and it was that. And I always laugh because I'm like, it's kind of like a Batman. Like Batman, you know, he was scared of the bats, and then it became to be. Well, I used to hear that word, all right, time for Randori, which means like to a jiu-jitsu player, time to roll, you know. Okay. And like my heart would start beating fast, my adrenaline would be going, my palms be sweaty, like, you know, to hear the word Randori made me super nervous, you know. So later on, years later, when I became comfortable with it, and I'm like, all right, awesome, now it's time to Randori. I'm be waiting for that. So then I thought I'm gonna put it as my tag, you know.
Very clever.
So
That's nice.
Yeah.
That's why I did it, you know. And then I always been a fan of like the traditional Japanese, like Bushido code and that kind of stuff, and the samurais and the shoguns. So that's why I chose my emblem as like a samurai helmet on there. That was cool.
Oh, that's cool. No, that's very cool.
You know,
and where are you guys located?
And so we're located in Orland Park. We're at 11545 West 183rd Place, Unit 118 Orland Park. But you can look it up. It's like a little industrial area. We've got 4 rings in there. You know, try to run morning, you know, your staple kind of jiu-jitsu place. We run morning classes, evening classes. We have kids classes. Mm-hmm. You can train people for competitions, things like that. And I got really lucky. I have a great crew of students there, really like warm and supportive. You know, a great group of kids. You know, sometimes you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
You know, you have to kind of work with the material that you get. I've just been lucky. I've got a lot of good people that have come into my door and made my job easy.
Are you from the South Side originally?
Yeah, I was originally born in like the Tinley. Well, I was born in Chicago, but moved and grew up in the southwest suburbs. Lived downtown for a while. I was an exchange student in Spain for a while.
Oh, really?
Didn't want to come back from there, but I was forced to, man. Like, Europe is awesome.
Yeah.
And then I came back to the city and then slowly got back out there. And then that's opening the gym out there was kind of what brought me back there. And
so did you always know you wanted to open up a gym, or is this something that was
No, to tell you the truth, no, I didn't know I wanted to open the gym. Like, I didn't have that in mind at all. I just used it as a job, like where I did it on the side. I always thought it'd be cool, but I thought I could never see myself opening a gym. Mm-hmm. And it's just things started to evolve. I started to get more and more students. I'd be teaching at other people's schools. You know, it was usually like, you know, back then there wasn't jiu-jitsu schools. So I was teaching at karate schools. Okay. You know, like the kung fu school. So little by little, it grew until, you know, I made the jump to a bigger place. You know, and it was cool. The place wasn't that big. I had like a little hallway. I think it was like 1,200 square feet. You know, like, but it grew from there, and then I got to move into a little bigger spot, you know, and, you know, I like where I am now. You know, it's cool. We got like the garage doors open during the summertime. Yeah. So it's like you're training outside. You get that breeze.
That's really cool.
It's horrible when it's like 90 degrees outside because you will sweat when you come to my gym.
Is that when you take the gi off?
You know, like, yeah, it's just like puddles and no gi class. You know, I'm like, I have to be running around with like a mop, you know, it's not, you know, like.
But you guys do no-gi, right?
Yeah. We do a lot of no-gi. I have classes in the morning for no-gi, and I actually have a good group of wrestlers that I just have recently got in just randomly, and they're all amped on the no-gi, you know. So yeah, I love no-gi, and like, you know, I prefer like ADCC style like rules, you know.
Paul's a big fan of that.
Yeah, I love that. Like when
you competed in ADCC.
Yeah,
right?
I competed in ADCC. Like I won in 2014. I had a really good year, and it was one of the ones that I won. But like I remember my coach.
That was for the whole U.S., right?
Yeah, it's like United States. It's like it was called ADCC America. It wasn't like an international one. It was just for the U.S. But
that would be bigger than like West Coast trials, right?
Yeah,
And it would be like all of it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if that one's bigger than the trials. The trials, I believe, is bigger than that because the trials will give you the free ticket to the Abu Dhabi. This one was not.
Okay.
So, but it was a good tournament. But I don't think any of my coaches had seen us roll like with no gi that much, and like in practice maybe doing heel hooks and things like that. Because I remember one of my coaches, I was in half guard and I like this nice setup. When I'm on the top position, where I pick up my leg, and then if you hook it and catch the bait, I'll knee reap you and then put that heel hook on you.
Okay.
But I reverse, so I'm on the top of half guard, and all of a sudden I jump back. And they know I'm a top game player, and my coach, one of my coaches, Marcelo, he's like, "What does he do? What are you doing?"
Could you sit back for it?
Yeah, I sit back for it. But like my training partner, he knew what I was doing. He's like, "No, don't worry, he's good at this," And so I was able to catch a dude for the finals. And
so did you do a lot of footlocks back in the day?
Yeah, I did a lot of footlocks. I had a guy come in when I was just teaching judo, and he was a sambo guy. And for the life of me, I can't remember his name. Like
Riley Bodycomb.
This guy, he was, he was like an interesting guy. I didn't speak too much English, and all of a sudden he started showing me. He came in there, I think it was for the kung fu class, and then me and him got to talk, and he started showing me his footlocks, and I was all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I like this, And people don't know, but Jigoro Kano, he shows in the traditional Kodokan books footlocks, straight footlock. He shows some other techniques, but in judo they don't teach you it because it's illegal in competition. So I never encountered it through all my years at judo. And so I got to see this stuff. I was like, no, I don't like this stuff, And so I became good at it and the heel hooks. And I was a big fan of watching like Judo and Pancrase.
Okay.
And so I used to do footlocks like crazy. So I was like, it was one of the things I just stole and ran with it,
It's good.
So
it's good.
Loved it.
So you teach all your kids reaping and hooks?
Yeah, it's the first thing to be like, oh, welcome to the school. Let me show you what a knee reap is. Yeah,
10 Planets, man, all about everything.
Yeah.
There's no discrimination there. There's like do it all, twisters, reaping.
How old are you? 5. You're just in the age for to learn to vaporize.
Yes, exactly.
If you would have been 4, we could only show you the electric chair. But
right.
At 5, you're good.
Vaporizer. Go for it.
Yeah, it's funny because I came from judo is so traditional. Like if you walk into a judo gym and like a dojo, and it's very formal, and it's very regimented, and there's the rules, and this is what you do, and you do the gi, and everybody, and up until like not that long ago, all the gis were only white. You bow, enter, leave the mat. There's a name for other techniques. When you start getting into jiu-jitsu, everything's like more relaxed. It's like you're hanging out with a bunch of surfers,
Right.
Everything's more chill. Be like, what's this move called? Be like, I don't know, man. We call it this, We call it after the one guy who showed it to us,
Right.
And like I remember, so it's a little bit. There's a little difference in it, but I like it to be balanced. I like, yes, you need to learn self-defense. You need to learn, the throws, but knowing all the stuff like the heel hooks, all that stuff, definitely necessary. Like it's somebody in advanced level. Now in judo, you can't choke until you're 13 years old. You can't use any chokes.
Okay.
You can't armbar until you're 17 and a brown belt. So I came from that type of mentality. So it's kind of weird when I started teaching kids, like submissions, because that always was like taboo in judo. Kids don't do subs,
Right. Which in certain competitions they don't really sub them out. Because I was noticing that at Naga, they're just like they'll put the hold in and then that's it. The match is over.
Yeah, which is good,
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
So how much of judo does translate like to the mat? Like I don't know a whole lot about it. I know you guys get 30 seconds once you complete a throw or something like that. Right?
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. Like the more advanced the competition gets, the more they'll cut the time on the mat. So if you watch the Olympics, they don't give you really that much time to do something. So if you're a judo player, you want to pull, you want to use ground techniques on somebody, you have to be advanced in every sec. You have to be moving for that guy not to stop you. If you pull a guard and it takes you more than 10 seconds to get something off, they're standing you back up, Now, if you get the guy and you see you putting hooks in, or it looks like you're going to pull something out of it, they'll let you work, But they don't give you much time, So my slight complaint about judo. But as far as your question about it translating, the school that I came from, they taught a lot of mat work. So to me, it wasn't that unfamiliar, Now, it's all the same art. It's all the same rules. It just really has evolved on the ground, So, and judo has evolved even standing up. There's throws that I'm like, I don't even know what that is. It looks cool.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm like calling my friend, my friend RJ up and be like, hey, man, you got to show me how to do that. So be like, to me, it's evolved a lot. So I probably at this point evolved more with my jiu-jitsu than my judo. But always still judo player at heart.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That's how my brain operates.
We still utilize it when you at the IBJJF.
All the time.
Yeah, for
sure. All the time.
Yeah. I'm sure people are just pulling guard on you.
The people just nonstop pull guard on me, and they're like, man, I felt terrible. Like, we'd have some stalemate matches. Like, I felt bad pulling guard on you, man. I thought you were a judo black belt. You were going to fight me standing. He's like, I thought I'd have a better chance to get on the ground. I'm like, I was like, well,
Because it's a compliment.
Because you're a third degree judo black belt,
yeah,
right?
I'm a third degree.
So how did the degrees work in judo?
In judo, it's kind of similar to jiu-jitsu. Like, a lot of the way the standards of jiu-jitsu they come from judo, right. Like the belt system and that. In judo, you go, you will get your first degree black belt, and that is just considered like your first degree black belt. In jiu-jitsu, when you get your black belt, there's no stripes, so you're just a black belt.
Right.
But in judo, you start off as, your first degree black belt, and then you go a few years in between, and it's about that. Like, I believe it's 3 years, and then 2 or 3 years, depending on your competition level and stuff. Then you go to your second and third, and it keeps getting spread out. So the next one I'm up for is my fourth degree, which. I'm gonna. I was looking to talk to Gary Goltz, who's head of the USJA, see I can get that done. But at fourth degree, they moved it to a cool black and red belt. So I told my kids, they're like, "Oh, that's awesome!"
It's like coral. It's like a coral belt.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. You got like the black and red, but in jiu-jitsu that doesn't happen until seventh.
Yeah.
So
jiu-jitsu, they make you wait.
Jiu-jitsu, they make you wait. Yeah.
They make you wait, man. They're like, you're gonna be on crutches before you get that thing. Or you started when you were in 1990.
When you're on the respirator, that's when they're gonna hand you in the hospital. Right?
There's so few of those.
Yeah. That's. I like it in a way. I believe that it's a combination that you need time, but also to each person's individual performance. Mm-hmm. Is important. Because, like, let's say, I've had guys in my gym that they live in there. I've had some of these younger guys, like, they're there mornings, afternoons, evenings. These guys are winning all the tournaments, placing in Pan Ams. And so they've moved through faster than somebody who's just had a couple practices a week and then, doesn't compete. But, right. It is what it is, But you can achieve it either way, It'd be ideal, of course, if you could live in the gym, but
right,
exactly.
We all have to pay our bills somehow.
Yeah.
So you're second degree in jiu-jitsu, right? Under Comprido?
Yeah, under Comprido.
Yeah, and is that who you've trained under the whole time?
No, that isn't who I've trained under the whole time. I've just got my second degree from Comprido. I came to Comprido. What year was it? 2000. It was 2010 actually when I opened my school. And, we had, me and some of the other students had parted ways from like our previous jiu-jitsu instructor. And so we came to Comprido and, told them like where we were at and, look, this is, we want to really get at it. We really want to compete a lot. We came from a place where they didn't compete a lot. It was a little bit different aspect of it. We wanted to really push the envelope. So a group of us, so he was really, accepting and really gracious and, just took us in right away.
And how did you know him before? You guys trained
Comprido? No, I've never trained with Comprido. Like, I just knew him from, I've seen him compete, before. And, I knew he was a world champion. I heard a lot of great stuff about him. And I always liked, learning from somebody who was like a competitor, That was like a different story because it was something that's very important to me, and like what I try to offer my students. I'm like, I came from like an Olympian. My judo coach was an Olympian. Like my Muay Thai boxing coach was a world Muay Thai champion. So I wanted to I was like, man, I really am looking for somebody who's out there on the cutting edge and like laying it on the line. I got a lot of respect for that. And also too, he could understand me more. So when I saw his whole history and everything, I was like, man, like this is lucky we got this guy in Chicago.
Right.
And it was like a no-brainer at that point. A little bit of a drive from where I'm at. That's just a bit of a challenge, you know. And I have
He's
kids
in,
and stuff.
he's in northwest suburbs.
Yeah,
right?
he's in the northwest suburbs. Yeah, so it takes me about like
No, he's in
Bloomingdale.
Bloomingdale, that's it.
Yeah. So it takes me about like 45 minutes, traffic sometimes an hour to get there, but it's well worth it. You know?
So you went into his gym as a black belt.
I went into his gym as a black belt. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any kind of weird? Like, was he like, "Oh, what are you guys doing?" Is it,
You know what? Like, for surprisingly, no. Like,
that's good.
He was super chill because he's super confident.
Yeah.
Because he'll just beat the crap out of you if you try anything. I mean, he's a
Good
big
point.
dude. You don't realize how big he is.
I've stood next to him, and
His hands like were meant to play in the NBA. Like he would just palm your whole head. Like, you know. So, and he's just, and not only that, his just expertise is, and the way he moves and stuff just makes him feel that much stronger and that. But he was really, I've had experiences where I travel and I show up at other schools and I'm already a black belt and people are always like, oh man, you're going to try to make me look bad in front of my students. And I always try to come in and I'm like, hey, I just want to just work out, I don't even want to, I don't want to challenge. I don't want, I just, let me practice some techniques. I'm on vacation,
Right.
But with Comprido, he didn't care. He was like, yeah, sure, let's go, let's roll, And so, I was like,
What's that like, rolling with him?
man, it's like, I don't know, like if you probably like catch like the Sasquatch or the Bigfoot and have to wrestle him down by hand. It's like something like that. Somebody tells you like handle a bear, but he's just like a master of knowing where you're going next.
Yeah.
So it feels like, you really have to, be on top, and he's strong, and not in a weightlifting way. Like his position is tight. Like his knowledge is is very, very profound. Like, so it's really cool. I learned something from him every time.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we got to see him compete at the Chicago Open a few months back. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can see he's still out there, like,
Yeah, throwing dudes around.
Throwing dudes around with his green hair.
Now, when you first met him, did he always have the green hair? Is that what? Because I don't even know the whole story of that. Why he does that?
So Comprido, like, it's funny if he hears this, he'll be like, "Oh, I probably not know it was my." But he changed his hair. Like he used to color his hair a long time ago, like
Dennis Rodman, right?
Yeah,
He'd
yeah,
just be
yeah.
like, okay,
yeah. He was the first. Like he was like one of the first people to be coloring his hair.
The worm.
Yeah, the worm. Right, and I'm like, I think maybe like I only seen like Mike Fowler like back then used to have that leopard patch, but then years. I don't think he did it for a while, and then I decided one of my years when I was going on a competition spree, I'm like, all my finishes, man, I never get in any magazine pictures for IBJJF. I'm like, screw it. I'm like, I'm dyeing my hair red. I'm putting like red stripes. And so I did it, and then
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. I was immediately, that's awesome. I was immediately in there. People were like, why the hell do you have red hair? I was like, look at page 276 and Gracie Mag,
That's so cool.
And then he's like, yeah, I used to dye my hair like that, and then I wonder if it sparked that in his mind or he just already had it. But so then he started doing the green,
Because he had the green at when he fought Metamoris.
Yeah,
the all barrel.
Yeah. God, I was his training partner for
when
that
was
one.
that? What year was
God, how was that?
What year was that? 2011? 12?
No, it was later than that. I think it was 2013.
13 or 14, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, he chose, like, he had, there was a lot of guys helped him train for that. But one of the things that I had worked with him specifically that he chose me for was to try to work with him was because I do the droppy pone Sonagi, and Salo hits that droppy pone all the time. He's a very good judo player. And, like, we're kind of the similar size, like me and Salo. He's a little bit of a thicker guy. But so it was really tough. Comprido. And Comprido, he didn't do any extra cardio, nothing for that. He just straight rolled and rolled and rolled. He might have done like a ellipto orbit, I think I've seen. But during one of my training sessions with him, like he was switching off from us, from me and my training partners, like, he was switching off, and it was when it was my turn. We were caught in this weird position, and I hit him in half guard, and he was trying to get out. and I caught my ribs underneath his shin, or his shin got caught underneath my ribs, and like when he went to pull it out, it ended up separating like 2 of my ribs.
Ow.
It was like horrible, man.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Yeah.
That hurts.
And then he was just like, all right, next.
Just roll off the mat, tape
I was
it.
just crawling away. Like,
Where are these front ribs?
yeah, I was like right here. Like it was
Yeah.
a weird position because I think he was trying to knee cut or something. Like, and I was holding his leg like that. I mean, like, he's a big dude, so you would just get hurt just rolling with him, even if
Yeah.
he's not planning on hurting you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Since he's not like that, but you know, it's like, you know, that collision with that somebody that big and that dangerous is just it's tough, but it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing because a lot of times what I've thought in my head, I'd be like, well, when I step on the mat for my competitions, I'm like, well, this ain't going to be as bad as Comprido.
Right.
Right. Yeah. That's good.
That's very true. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
So is it the green hair always, or just when he competes?
I think when he does, like when he's like in like battle mode, you know.
Oh, gotcha.
So he could be competing, or he's like out, like maybe promoting stuff or whatever. But usually, like he's, and then he goes back to normal color.
Yeah. What about you? Did you retire the red after you got your magazine shot?
Yeah, I retired the red. Like I was like, it was, I was like, okay, that's enough. I got what I wanted. People were like, all right, are you done with that already? I'm like, yeah, okay. I get the hint.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was thinking of bringing it back, but I think I'll just leave it. I think I'll just leave it back.
What do you think
there.
the kids will think about it?
The kids like it. They get a kick out of it. Like, they like,
Do it when you get your judo coral belt.
There you go.
That's
when
when
you
yeah, see, I have black and red. Yeah. And then the
Got to
black
match.
and red.
Got to match. Got to coordinate.
I like that idea, man. I like that. Okay, I'll wait till I get it, and then I'll give you a shout out for the.
You got Instagram, right? You got Instagram.
Yeah,
don't you?
yeah,
There
yeah.
you go. We'll
Yeah.
be looking for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was reading over your list of accolades, and like you've accomplished a lot. So like, what would be your proudest moment as a competitor? Which one stuck out?
Oh well, I was like dying to do any ADCC ever, and I could never get there. So I really liked doing ADCC. That one, me and my training partner, who was like one of my instructors at the time, a student, we were really amped about that one, But I guess Worlds, I would have to say like the first time I won a bronze in purple. That was my first jiu-jitsu tournament actually as a purple belt. And so I won a bronze in that. I'm like, I didn't even know all the rules, like first thing I did is drop Ippon Tsunagi the first one,
right.
And then I just like, went after him, but I ended up with a bronze, like, and then I think another one, was interested, like that one ADCC, and then the Worlds, like I thought that was when I won the Worlds no gi, it was a really cool moment for me because it was like a pinnacle, so it was. I think that one stood out.
Yeah, it's Worlds.
It's Worlds, like So that I had a great year that year for 2014. Started horribly. I did pans and super heavy, and I'm like, I messed up on my throw. I got my back taken, and it blew up in my face. But I decided then to fight in my own weight class, and then that year I won ADCC. I won Chicago Open. I won Boca Raton. And then I won the Worlds for IBJJF no gi, and then I won it in gi for that for SSJIF. I think the one in California. It's like an alternate thing. So they had cool medals.
Yeah.
So any tournaments like fight to wins coming up, right? You ever been in one of those?
I've never done a fight to win. One of my teammates offered me a single match on something they had coming up, but we were supposed to go to Canada. But it definitely is something that I'm going to do in the future.
Yeah.
I've had some injuries I'm recovering from this year, so I want to make sure that's all good. But I like it. It reminds me of MMA.
Yeah.
Without anybody kicking you in the head, so that's cool.
Well, even Grappling Games is doing it as well. So Grappling
yeah.
Games puts together a little tournament too.
I saw that. Yeah, they had a pretty good lineup. I think the last time. Definitely going to do one of those, and definitely going to, put that in my map in the future for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fight to win style.
I like it too.
Yeah.
It's really good, and they're doing really
And
well.
the show they put on is great.
Yeah,
I think that it's doing amazing stuff for the sport, because, you're getting out there, you're able to, first of all, you only have to fight one match,
Right.
so
Right.
second of all, you get, there's a payoff for it, and it brings like this thing, jiu-jitsu, to like a whole new level, it's not just like in the, in a tournament, and it's not just in some high school, where there's a million people, like
Right.
it's just like you get to showcase one-on-one. So,
Yeah, and it's on flow grappling, which is really cool.
and that's awesome. The fact that it's on there is really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like everything about it. Like, I had my student at the time, Danya, like competed, and that was the one I got to see. And I
She's
think,
competed this one too.
yeah, she just competed in this one too.
She won
She's
against
been
she won
killing
against
it.
one of our teammates.
Yeah,
Christina.
Did she? Yeah.
Every time I
she's
see
tough.
Danya competing, she's winning.
Yeah, she's doing good.
Yeah,
she's doing good.
she's
She
tough.
works hard, so.
Yeah.
But I think that day, that fight to win, it was there was some problem with like the stage, like the venue itself had, kind of changed, but the producers of Fight to Win did a great job because he adjusted and he put it outside.
Oh, that was last in the summer.
Yeah. And the mats were a little slick, man, but those guys fought their asses off, man. I mean, they did a good job because,
Yeah.
and it was a great production. It was really cool. I had a couple of teammates compete in it. I think it was Dan Borovic and there was one other guy there. I can't remember. Grayson competed in there too. So that we came out good
Yeah.
from that one. So yeah, really, I like that venue. Definitely something in my future.
Yeah,
For
that'd be
sure.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to see you
Yeah.
on the
So,
big
so what
stage.
injuries you got right now?
What I struggle with is like I need a surgery on my wrist because I have, it was like from kind of MMA, but I've had all my bones shift across here, and so it's a thing like I call it like slack wrist syndrome, and it's all my cartilage is
Slack wrist?
Yeah, so
I've
like
never
the
heard of
wrist, it moves over to the side.
Uh-huh.
So my X-ray looks like you took a bag of marbles where the wrist bones are supposed to be. Those little bones are supposed to be in place, and they all shifted a lot. Wow. Which sucks for me because from the judo days I like to collar choke people,
Right.
So and
So you can't turn them.
yeah, so it's really hard for me to turn. So I've had to turn to other techniques, to do that stuff. But at least with a lot of like hand pain and stuff, and then recently had like rotator cuff injury, which is frustrating because like just when you think it's over and you start doing the weight rehab, and then sometimes I've had a setback in the last few weeks in that. So just a little bit more strength and conditioning. But I mean, I plan on by the end of towards the end of the summer being back to feeling.
So is that surgery
good.
like in-out surgery?
No, it's not going to happen for a long time because it's actually a friend of mine who's a doctor, and it's a microsurgery. So the recovery time is something ridiculous. They want to put the whole arm in immobilized, and then they just like do an elbow cast down. Then you just do a wrist cast down.
Oh my god!
So it's a really long time. And then he's like, look, if you're going to be competing and stuff hardcore afterwards, he's like, you're just going to ruin it and be back in here again.
Right.
So he's like, come to me when you're really done.
Oh,
So
really?
I don't know when
Okay.
that'll be, but
See you in a 90?
Yeah,
I'll
exactly.
end up with a hook for a hand.
Right.
but-
Just cut it off. Just cut it off. Just give me a prosthetic.
Captain Hook.
Yeah, I always complain and I have like wrist brace, and I think I was watching Star Wars with my kids. My son's like, Dad, they chopped off, I think it was Anakin's hand. He got this robot. He's like, that's what you need. You need a
That's
hand
what
like
you
that.
need.
I was like, I wish, bro.
So now you have 3 kids?
I do. I have 3 kids.
They're all here in the studio right now. They're all
Yeah.
outside watching Netflix and chilling.
Yeah.
That's what your kid said. And I don't know what you're teaching your kids. But he's like, yeah, we'll Netflix and chill. I'm like, all right.
How old is that little guy?
Thor, 7. Yeah.
Thor, 7-year-old, Netflix and chill.
Yeah. Thor. That's an interesting name, Thor.
Yeah.
How'd you come? Now he's your second?
Yeah, he's
oldest
my he's my
child?
middle child. I have Angelina, who's my oldest. She's 9. Thor is 7, and Max is 6, and they all train together. And Thor, I liked like strong names like that.
That's pretty fucking strong.
Yes, I thought. Yeah, he gets a kick out of it. It's funny because he's completely different than I was in judo. I was more of a nervous, fighter. I'd get a lot of anxiety before, my matches and stuff. And like, he's completely oblivious. As a matter of fact, like I coach him differently than I coach my daughter. Like So at last one, he likes Deadpool a lot. And so the last tournament in Newbury, I'm like, listen, dude, I'm like, you're Deadpool, right? I'm like, just go out there and be Deadpool. He's like, all right.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He won the gi and the no
Did
gi
he really?
division. Yeah, he just has in his mind, like he's got a little Deadpool patch on his.
That's awesome.
breakpoint
Oh,
gi.
really? I don't know if I've seen that. Which one is
What,
that?
Deadpool?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Is that who plays that? Is that Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a Ryan
Yeah.
Reynolds one. Yeah.
That's great. That's probably one of my favorite, like
Yeah.
Marvel. Like,
Me too.
Because it was shot so well and so differently. Like,
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
love the
And it's
the
like comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got it. Yeah, it
I
doesn't.
saw the trailer.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, you can check it out. But
Javier's gonna yell at you for that. Just
Yeah,
so you
I
know.
know.
Just so you know, get ready for it.
You gotta get up
Get
to
ready for the
speed on
text
that one.
messages instantly.
Yeah. We're not friends anymore.
Yes. Is your wife also trained?
Yeah, well, actually, I'm divorced now. Like, but she did train, like back then. So we all used to train together and stuff. But like now, my girlfriend, she trains too. So like,
Nice.
it makes everything easy.
Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu talk is easy, and
Yeah.
everybody like it's hard to like relate when the people, So it's cool because the gym is a very like it's like a like my rec room, my living room in a kind of a way because we come there and sometimes I just come there so the kids burn off some energy or steam, or like come there to like practice techniques and the kids are there. My daughter helps me teach like I teach a little ninjas class and she's like the in between like the big scary guy versus like the the little kids. Sometimes the little kids will look at you and be like but so she's like a buffer in between in her little pinky gi. But
Now, did you bring jiu-jitsu to them, or is it just something that's been in their lives? Is it something they want to do, or is it just how'd that all work out? Because all
like-
three in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Well, that's what I did for a living, So basically, I was like, they're hanging out with me. Like we all just hung out there because I was running the gym.
Right.
And so my daughter just was always interested in stuff and what I was doing and that. And when I started the classes, when I opened Randori Jiu Jitsu, I wanted to start a class for little kids and for her age. So she was my first like little ninja, is like the program is called. So she was like my prototype, So I spent a lot of time and stuff with her, and then my son's just kind of like, she actually was one of the first starters of the program. So I developed a program between her and like children of some of my other students that I had.
Okay.
I'd be like, hey, just bring them, bring them for free. Let's just try to get this program moving. And so it did, and it took off, and we've had a lot of success with the kids.
So you have a lot of families there.
Yeah, we do have a lot of families. Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah, I have like the Fran and Jill De La Vega are it's a family like it's really cool because they're younger than I am, but like they have 3 kids that are the same age, so they all go to school with my kids in the same grade. So like their oldest son Logan is in school with Angelina, and Tatum, their middle daughter, is in school with Dor, and the youngest one Paxton is in school with Max. So they all have like training partners in each other.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wait till you guys get into high school. I'm like, hopefully nobody's gonna mess with you guys.
No one is
Should be
gonna
like a
touch
band
that.
of like just beating like, and they're all good kids, So but anybody's gonna mess with them is gonna be in for a shock.
I know. Can you imagine? Yeah. Oh man.
And your name's Thor.
There's a 10th Planet guy named Thor.
Is there really?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I think he's out of like Bethlehem. 10th Planet
cool,
Bethlehem. Yeah.
cool.
He's a beast, I heard.
Yeah.
You gotta
Thor.
be with a
You got-
name like that.
Yeah,
you have
can't.
to be.
Yeah. You're not playing magic with Thor.
No.
No,
I was
no.
hoping that I was like, I love my son, whatever he turns out to be, but he literally lives up to his name, man. And Maximus is just like, he's really big for his age, just a big, strong dude, like for a little kid like that. So he's always chasing the older brother, so they have a good rapport. And
That's nice.
but my daughter's the one who puts the smackdown on all of them.
Yeah, that's great.
She's no mercy, and she's mean.
Is she really? Are you teaching them leg locks now?
Yeah, I know. I was like, let me show you this. It's called knee reef to
No, we got what, Grappling Industries tomorrow? We're
Yeah,
both competing?
grappling, yeah.
Are you going to be at that? Is your kids competing in that?
No, I'm unfortunately like we're not going to be at that one tomorrow. But we're looking towards IBJJF, the next IBJJF, like just the way our scheduling has turned out, and I've had a lot of like things going on and some seminars that I've done. So I've been away from the academy a lot of times, so it's difficult to be away from it so much. So I've got to be back at the academy tomorrow, but we're we're vamping up to do some kids tournaments soon, and definitely want to hit that kids IBJJF one in August. So we've actually started training for it already.
That's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm hoping to bring home some.
I've got like 9 matches tomorrow.
Oh,
Really?
Jesus.
Yeah,
You have 9 matches?
9. Yeah, I got 5 in the gi. And
Did you
4 in
go
no
to the
gi.
adult division?
Yeah, I had to do an adult.
You
Division.
got to do that. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
8.
You got 8. Yeah,
Both you guys doing it tomorrow.
yeah.
So you have like, so you have 5 people. You have like.
Well, it's
so
a round robin.
It's a round robin.
So I fight everybody.
Okay.
So no matter what, I gotta
Right.
fight everybody.
Yeah.
I see.
So, and these kids they're half my age.
Judo tournaments a lot. They do that round robin. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of matches, especially fighting young guys.
Yeah, I know.
Stay
We'll see how that
relaxed.
goes.
Stay
tomorrow.
relaxed.
Yeah, I'm gonna try just to sub them quick.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Are you doing gi, no gi? Like
both.
I'm doing both too.
Yeah, so I think what's nice about this
you guys
tournament,
got your work cut out for you tomorrow.
I know. So what's nice, they give you the brackets, like they know what time you're going on, kind of
That's
like
awesome.
the IBJJF.
Yeah, I've heard good stuff about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So 11:30 and 1:30 are my times. 11:30 gi's first, then no gi.
All right.
11:30, then 1:30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
That's
even know
good.
what time I'm going on at yet.
Yeah, I've had times where I've shown up and I've been not fighting till 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
That's how it was at Naga.
And I've been refereeing the entire day because
Oh, really?
well, yeah, me and a friend of mine, we travel, and then he was like, "Hey, let's just referee, and then you get paid for refereeing, and then you don't have to pay for registration." It
Right,
seems cool
okay.
until you got to be there 8 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
And then you're there standing, and they're like, "Okay, time to fight. It's 5."
And they go swap uniforms.
Yeah, and then you got to go
and
run and change.
Yeah.
So like, I haven't done that lately. I think
Yeah.
those days might be done.
I can't do it. I mean,
It's a lot,
It's like
man.
a whole day. It's like
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
want to do anything for a whole day.
Right.
I mean, I love jiu-jitsu, but like I don't want to do anything for one whole
yeah.
day.
Yeah, it's a little tough.
How did Naga go anyway?
I took first place in my division.
Okay,
Awesome.
nice.
And then I took second in the expert division
Awesome.
in no-gi. Yeah, second.
Very
so.
nice. Very nice.
And you got there at what time?
I got there at noon,
And what time did you fight?
5.
And what time did you get out of there?
That is a little
8 o'clock.
long
o'clock.
wait.
Nice.
Yeah, it was, it was a little long, but it was.
I mean, why did you get there at noon? Did they say be there at
because
noon?
I love jujitsu, and I just had to go. I couldn't I'm fighting today, but I couldn't hang out at the office. I just
Right.
had to go. I'm like, I just got to be around the environment.
Right.
There's a lot of people I knew there, so talking to people, hanging
Hanging
out.
out.
It's nice. It was very crowded at Naga. They had like 700 plus competitors.
Wow.
A lot of them, I'm sure, were kids.
Yeah.
But it was what it was.
Was that one at the was it the Max Center? Okay.
Yeah, I was there.
That's a pretty nice setup that they had inside there.
My gi match was, so there was no one in my age group in the gi, and then there was no one, so I had to go up in weight and up in age. So the guy I fought, Omar was making fun of the photo, but this guy Scott, who I fought, real nice guy. He was 54 years old, training the same amount of time as I have, and he weighed about 150 pounds. I walk around like 133.
Yeah.
So they said, "Hey guys, so we don't have any, you can either go down in age to 20-year-olds or you guys can just fight." I'm like, I'm good. You want to fight? He goes, "Yeah, let's fight." I'm like, "All right, man, let's do it." So we fought. I beat him, I think, like just 9-0.
Did you talk to him for 20 minutes before you fought?
I didn't. No, we didn't have that much time. It was kind of like, okay, you guys want to fight? Yeah,
You must
okay,
have been
let's
really
fight.
upset about that.
I was, but afterwards we got to talking, and,
I gotcha.
and he's from Minnesota, real nice guy. It was a good match. I had fun.
Right.
I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I tried doing some stuff to him. I'm like, okay, I just want to go for a triangle. So I just want a triangle. But he's very good at posturing. He tried choking the hell out of me. I just sweeped him and got on top and just pointed him.
Cool.
So it was good. It was
Nice.
a good match.
Nice.
The no-gi matches, they were tough. Those guys. Are in
Yeah.
their
Well,
30s.
it tries to like a lot of like wrestlers. There'll be collegiate wrestlers sometimes in those things.
Yeah, that's
You have your
the
hands
thing you
full.
come across. You get a lot of wrestlers.
Yeah. And then, you don't have all the weapons that you do. And that's when the heel hook comes.
Yeah, right. Which I could have done in expert division, but I didn't. I got the first match. I got a straight ankle on the guy.
Nice.
And then the one I lost for a second, he just controlled the whole. I think he beat me like 12-0.
Yeah.
He just like ragdolled me around, took my back. He couldn't finish me. Thank God. I had to fight out of a rear naked choke. Like I made a conscious decision. Like I'm not going to tap because he's on my back and he's choking me. I'm like, I'm just going to go out. Like I in that moment, I'm like, I'm not tapping. He'll have to just, and then I just turned and got out of it. And then the match was over. I was like, oh, thank God. I really didn't want to go out, but I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to beast out of this. I'm just going to fight it.
Yeah.
I felt good. I felt good afterwards.
It works.
Sometimes it does work.
Do you fight absolutes a lot? What's the biggest guy that you've had to fight from?
I've never fought absolute. No.
Dude,
Fuck that, right?
Yeah, fuck that. I don't want to do that.
Coyote.
I went on this, I went on this, thought process where I was like, you know what? I'm tired of everybody pulling guard. I want to throw some people. I'm going to move up. I'm going to fight ultra heavy. So I fought a Chicago Open. I think it was 2015, maybe it was. I fought ultra heavy, and I won in ultra heavy. Nothing happened much between, so I was like, all right, cool. I got some confidence. I'm like, I'm doing ultra heavy worlds. And then I was like, oh no, Fabiano Scherner, who's in my division. So if you don't know who Fabiano Scherner is, he's the jiu-jitsu coach for Team Quest, okay, for starters. And so he's out there working with all these guys. So he knows his takedowns really good. Yeah. I was like, I'll fight any of these guys. I hope I don't get this guy.
Right.
So I fought him. And then he also weighs like 290 pounds. And
290?
290. And he's about 6'3", 6'4". And so I'm at the bullpen, and like ultra heavy, they don't weigh you. No, they just go ahead. And I was like, maybe this is a bad idea. So I saw, I'm like, I'm looking at his arm, and I'm like, dude, his arm is bigger than my leg.
Oh, shit.
And then I was like, oh, man. I'm like, oh, well, I guess, And so I got in there, and what people don't know about Fabiano Scherner, he's super fast. And he's a multiple-time world champion,
Okay.
Super fast for ultra heavy. So he was in there. He sits up in his, like, wrestling stance, and normally I attack that foot sweep when people lead with the leg to hit the shot. So I foot swept him like 2-3 times. It was like a mosquito bouncing off him. And then I'm like, I better get to something. Like, so he locked up and he gave me what I wanted, and I'd hit the drop pone, and it was just like time froze. Like nothing happened to him. I'm like, I was perfectly underneath him, like everything. And just since he didn't have a lot of forward momentum, like he was like confused. He's like, oh, but he wasn't really bothered by it,
Yeah.
So I was like, I gotta get out of here. But in my mind, I remember this match with a friend of mine that he went to escape like that, and Fabiano grabbed him and suplexed him.
Oh,
so I was like, I think I'll just turn around and go back to half guard. So he passed me half guard, he put me back. I'm like, I straight up grabbed a full Kimura on him, and it was like, I don't know, trying to Kimura like somebody's leg. So like it didn't work. He didn't budge. He didn't try to defend it.
No.
He just
stood there, just like, get off my arm.
He just ignored it, right? He just like, I felt like a chihuahua like biting somebody's ankles, And so I lost the match on points, but I didn't get subbed. And I was like, and then I watched everybody else get subbed in there. So I was like, okay, that'll be my take home for that.
Be right.
And then the other one lesson is like, I'm done with ultra heavy. Like, but the guy's a beast, man. He's like, he's fought. I think he used to fight in that circuit that used to be on where they had like the different states or something like that. Like it was like a fight circuit. Ben Rothwell came from it, and they had like different teams. I don't know if you guys remember that. It was like this MMA circuit. But the guy's a monster. So he was. That was an experience, man.
Yeah, Team Quest is like Chael Sonnen and Dan Henderson and Yushin Okami, those guys.
Yeah. And the guy and Fabiano's fast, man.
Yeah.
Comprido was like, why did you let him pass the half guard? I was like, I did it, man. He just did it.
What you let him?
Why did you open your half guard? I'm like, I didn't. He did.
That's funny,
I was like, dude, man.
Well, that's awesome. You didn't get suplexed, right?
Yeah, man. That's all that was flashing in my mind. I'm like, dude, I don't want to be in the hospital, and I don't want to be a highlight reel, man. Just keep your back on the mat and just hold on.
Good wrestlers, they're tough to deal with, especially in points tournaments.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Remember when at the Chicago Open you taught me how to like find out who my opponent was?
Yeah,
You're
exactly.
like, who are you fighting? I'm like, I don't know. And you're like, you could look that up.
Right.
I'm like, oh no shit. Like, that was a mistake.
Yeah, because he found out, what was the guy like?
It was like he was a D1 All-American, and he was like, he won the Chicago Open like 4 years in a row, and he had like a couple of state titles in wrestling, and I was like, fuck me, dude.
But it wasn't that bad. See, you psyched yourself out a little bit on that match.
No, I'm glad I looked into it.
Really?
Because I'm like, all right, I I know this guy's going to try and wrestle fuck me. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta,
Right.
I'm not going to get 2 on him. It's highly unlikely I'm going to take this
Right.
guy down, right?
You
I
tried.
I got to be prepared for his shot.
Right.
And the only way I'm going to take him down, especially if I'm down by points and we're standing or whatever, is
Right.
like, I got to try an Eminari roll or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I did.
Yeah, you did
Tried
twice.
3 Eminari rolls.
3 was it?
Something like that. And
that's funny.
I pulled guard twice, and yeah, the guy ended up getting a takedown and beat me 2-0.
Yeah.
It's close though. That's close. Like, yeah, see, like I would love to get those matches because I'm like, all right, he's gonna, not try to pull some guard trickery on me. It was like make my, I like to go head to head, with the takedowns and that. But I don't know. What do you guys think about that? It's like looking up your opponents beforehand, because I'm like, I've had good experiences from it. I've had bad. I'm like, I always, different people say that it helps them. Other people don't like to look it up. Like,
I mean, one of the fights I'm doing tomorrow is with EJ, who beat me at the New Breed, and I've gone his gym.
So I
already know his game.
Yeah,
and I
sure.
know how good he is. He's a natural 145er, so he's cutting to 135. By the way,
Right.
thanks EJ, and because there's 145ers he could fight. I don't know why he's gonna come down.
Yeah,
so
you're
low.
a natural 45er too.
No, I'm not.
Age-wise.
Age-wise, baby. But I know he's a wrestler and he's super good, and his hips are like, I don't even know, man. He
Yeah.
just moves those hips and he just over
you
you,
got the
past
awesome
you.
hips,
Yeah.
right.
It's great.
20-year-old.
Right, he's 20 years old. Right, exactly. So I'm really looking forward to a rematch against him there.
That's
but
cool.
I know I looked up some guys for the Masters Worlds.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the whole point thing. Like for the IBJJF, you get points for winning. Like, right? So
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So I'm like, I'm going to look up and see how many points these guys had. Like, where are they new?
Right.
Like, I've got 9. I got 9 points in IBJJF. So I'm like, well, who won Masters? Who won Worlds this past summer? This guy, Ron Little. And so I'm
Okay.
like, let me see where he's at ranking wise. He's got 300 plus points.
Yeah, that's a good way to look it up, like kind of because the IBJJF rankings.com, it's not actually owned by IBJJF, but they do a good job keeping track of stuff,
Well, you can kind of gauge and see how
Yeah.
experienced he is.
Right.
300 plus points, he's pretty experienced.
Yeah.
He's I have
Well,
9.
how does the point system work?
You get points for as you medal.
Depending the size of the tournament, like so for Worlds you might get like 100 points. For like a smaller tournament you might only get 10 points, and then you have to accumulate this amount of points. IBJJF gives out those points like in order to qualify now for like adult Worlds. Before it used to be like you could just be anybody and sign up for adult Worlds. Now you have to accumulate. So by winning first, second, or third, they give you a rank of points, and depending on the tournament size, then they'll increase those points. They'll multiply it times maybe 2 or 3, depending how big the tournament is, and all that leads up to the World. So nowadays, if you want to do adult Worlds, like you have to start planning from the end of the last adult Worlds and start competing in an adult for black belts.
Traveling.
This is for black
and
belts.
traveling to
and
like
that means
Dallas and
traveling.
all these
Yeah,
things. You
and
can't
that
just
means
do your
traveling.
hometown.
Yeah.
You got to go around.
Yeah, you
to
need
accumulate the
money and
points.
you need time.
Right.
So it's really cut down the amount of people. Like, I've done adult Worlds, like, and I remember like the division being huge. Like it being like 40 people in a division. I'm like, that is a lot.
Yeah.
To deal with, and then on top of it, you have like Andre Galvao and like, Rodolfo Vieira in your same division, right. And so it's as a Masters, that's it's like, oh, okay, all right, I guess it'd just be cool to roll or to come across them. So.
But to fight them, like
Yeah, but I've had like weird experiences. So sometimes I'd look up my opponents, and then after this one particular time, I didn't look up my opponents. I was in the Vegas Open, and it ended up just being one guy in my division. And I asked my friend, I'm like, do you know this guy? He sounds familiar. Like usually at this stage, like everybody, all this black belt stuff, you pretty much know. It just is like a small world. Pretty much anybody who competes, you know them, and if they don't compete, like you will know them soon, or somebody knows them, But so my friend's like, I don't know this guy, I'm like, I'm gonna look him up, and then I was like, you know what, I'm not looking him up. Well, when I was, our match started, I started feeling the grips from this guy. I'm like, this guy wants to do an Ippon Nagi on me. I was like, I better get to this first. So
right.
I'm like, boom, I hit the drop Ippon, and I was able to finally pull it off, and then he was trying to do like a no arm triangle on me. So once I escaped out of that, I got my points, and like the match was pretty much me passing his guard, him defending and stuff. But afterwards, and the guy's a really nice guy, and we talked and that. And I looked at his profile when I got home, and he was a 3rd-degree black belt in judo.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, damn, if I had known that, I would have never tried that droppy pull. So
okay.
You know,
So
I would have been like...
A little more...
Yeah, I would have done something else, you know. Like, I don't know what it would... I would have, like, taken a wrestling approach to him.
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried, like, you know, more wrestling techniques on him. But I was like, I'm glad I did. So after that, I'm just, like, stopped, you know, looking you know, it up. And I've just watched maybe their matches. If I have to fight them first... You know, sometimes the people's like physical makeup, you know, like you're fighting like a guy who's like 5'2", like, you know, 200 pounds. That guy's probably not pulling guard on you, but sometimes you never know. Like,
Right.
You know, it's probably a top game player, you know, or if the guy's like 6'4" and like all legs, be like,
Yeah.
this guy's doing a flying triangle on me.
100%.
Yeah. I'm like just keeping my head and arm all the way away from this guy because this is just like a giant bear trap waiting to happen. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. I'm just interested to know. I always like to ask people's opinions on that one.
So you fly around, do a lot of seminars?
I have. I've done seminars in. I think the farthest I've done is Mexico and Cancun, which is really cool. Like we had I'm part of Team Brazza, and we have a brother school out there, and I go every year because my family has a place by there in Cancun area, and so I found that there was a school out there, and I was like, oh man, I didn't even know these guys. So I came in contact with them. It's a really small school, but really hard workers out there. So every time I go out there and like do some training, do like a little clinic, you know, I teach all in Spanish. I talk in Spanish, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. The first time that I went in that place, it is so hot and humid.
Oh,
I'm like, this guy's got the door open. He's letting out all the air, and I'm like, oh no, there's no air. And you know, like I'm on vacation, man. So I'm like, I've had some, you know, beers the day before and stuff like that. Sure. I'm like, I didn't think it, you know. So I'm like sweating, like teaching the class. That was my first experience, like sweating, teaching, just showing, you know, first 2-3 techniques. You know, so I've gone back there every year. I go back. This past year, I did not have the time, but I try to go back and do that. I have a couple other places, Academy Self Defense, where. They do mostly MMA. They got a jiu-jitsu program too, so I go there and I do like some MMA seminars, like jiu-jitsu based MMA, because there's a big difference, you know. Certain things like, you know, you want to, your jiu-jitsu game has got to be a little bit adapted for MMA. You know, it's just.
What do you think about the strike-based jiu-jitsu? Have you seen any of that yet with the EBI?
I've seen it like where they want to do. I saw something like that like a while back. I remember people have tried to pull it off, and you know, like the most experience I've had with stuff like this, ADCC, like you can slam the guy from your guard, you know. But I think there's like value for it, you know. Like I tell people, I'm like, nobody twisted your arm to sign up for that, you know. People are like, oh my god, that's, you know. I used to be like watch it, you know, UFC, be like, oh my god, it's so brutal. I'm like, hey. These are two guys that are professionals that have trained for this all the time. They agree to it. Right, you know, it wasn't like somebody's like, hey, you, get over, come here for a second.
Right,
you know,
right.
And so I think that anything that, you know, expands or like, you know, showcases the sport in different dimensions is cool.
Yeah.
You know.
It's just interesting that there's so many different like little like subsets of the sport, like of jiu-jitsu. Like there, you know, you have your gi, you have your no gi, you have your strike base now. You know, there's so many like little facets of the sport.
Points,
all the sub only, right?
Right.
Whereas, you know, other sports don't really have that. Like it's like football. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your football. You know what I mean? There's not really like a subset of that sport.
It's so hard to get it into the Olympics, right?
Right.
It is.
Because then what rule set do you do?
Nobody's coming together on one actual rule set.
Yeah.
You know?
But I don't even know if you can. I mean, it's so
you're right.
it's so like
It's difficult. The rules, and I think I can definitely see it ending up in the Olympics at some point. It has all the, you know, I think they just need to take a page out of judo and just like follow that, which they really have. Like they've gone through that stuff too. And I know like there's a lot of organizations trying to push to get, you know, jiu-jitsu in the Olympics, and they're talking to people from other countries to try to get in there. I think like there's a few countries like that have already agreed, you know, to try to put that in. So it would be cool. It would be awesome. Like I think about that sometimes. I have my kids in the class, you know, and I'd be like, because when I was a kid, my idol was this coach, Bobby Berlin. He was the first American ever to win a silver medal in the Olympics for judo. Okay. No American has ever won a gold medal in the Olympics. No, I'm sorry, no American male has ever won gold medal in the Olympics for judo. Still. Wow. But Bobby Berlin was
what country takes it the most?
Typically, like Eastern Europe, Japan. You know, there's some countries in South America, but typically like Eastern Europe and Japan. Yeah, they really kill it, man. Mm-hmm. Their judo is awesome. You know, I mean, Japan, like, the roots are so deep in there, but Eastern Europe is the force to be reckoned with.
Right.
You know? Yeah. They got amazing wrestlers too in there. So judo has changed, like the federations try to get some of those wrestlers out of there to be like, okay, no more double legs, you know, which is like, it's kind of bogus, I think, in a way. But so this guy, Bobby Berlin, he was like my idol. I was probably like, I don't know, 10 years old. And he would show up, you know, and he was training for the Olympics. And he was like a 6'2", blonde haired dude, you know, like look like a superhero like that to me, you know, back then to me. Show up in a red sports car, different girl every weekend, you know, and coming with him, you know. He was like the head bouncer at like this, you never remember China Club like that?
Yes.
He was a head bouncer there. He worked at the Board of Trade. Yeah, it was funny. Like, I mean, the guy was a star. Like everybody wanted to be him. I was like, oh man, I was just like, you know, and so you got to see him and they came and interviewed us because he was going to be in the Olympics as kids, you know. And so I always think of myself when I see my kids, you know, not just mine, but my students. Like, man, I hope these guys get an opportunity sometime to turn it into like an Olympic dream, because that's at a whole nother level. And a pretty amazing thing that I saw is like from beginning to end, Olympics never seems to like leave you, because my coach, Irwin Cohen, like he passed away a few years ago. And at his funeral, first of all, like everybody looked like a gorilla with thick neck, cauliflower ears, you know, like it was kind of like a sight to see, but we all were dressed up in, you know, in dress clothes, you know, so I was like, oh, this is so strange, you know. And then there were so many world champions there, and then it was all Olympians that carried his casket, you know. I was like, wow, that is something else, you know. And so they had a little tribute to him, so it never seems to leave you that honor. Like, so I hope maybe that one day I can get to coach one of these guys to be in that kind of level, you know. It would be really cool.
Yeah.
Be awesome.
I mean, I think, you know, if it ever got to Olympics, I mean, you're talking about a whole nother, like, brand of like students coming into your school, a whole nother like
scholarships.
There's like so much more attention will be brought to jiu-jitsu in the community, and now you got schools popping up that are just doing Olympic type strength and conditioning, all this stuff geared towards jiu-jitsu stuff. I think that'd be huge. It'd be really nice to see.
Yeah, it would for any gym owner. That's for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know, and
I wonder how that even how's it even, like, who's pushing for it? Is the IBJJF even like, hey, can we do this? Or they're just doing their own thing?
I know, like, João Silva, like from SSJIF, he's been really out there trying to get people to, you know, look at jiu-jitsu and look what it's about, and to organize some type of body in that. And I imagine IBJJF has had to, you know, some kind of input in that as well. You know, so as far as I know, he's like the main person that I've seen out there doing stuff. So that's great. You know, anything that anybody pushes to the sport, you know, I always love to see, you know, the days like when I fought, like in No Holds Barred, like compared to now, like UFC has evolved a lot. You know, it would be great to see the fighters get paid a lot more. You know, that's the bad part, but it's the organization. And now, you know, I tell somebody MMA, like your average person. I laugh because I was in Vegas and I'd see like grandmas wearing like, you know,
Affliction.
Yeah, Affliction stuff, you know, or they'd be wearing tap out stuff. I'm like, dude, somebody's grandma, like,
right?
I know.
And I'm like, okay, so this has gotten pretty popular, you know. You know, so yeah. Before you tell people that, they'd be like, what? What are you talking about? You know. So now everybody's, oh, jiu-jitsu, yeah, cool. So that's nice, you know. I don't have to. I don't do some obscure thing anymore that nobody has any idea.
Exactly. Yeah. I was actually watching Andre Manecco, our coach. I was actually watching his Amazon film, The Patriot. The Patriot.
His series.
Sorry. It's actually really good.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah,
it's good. It's interesting.
It's
how
a little
they
slow
filmed
in the beginning.
A little slow, but like I don't know. I really like it. I'm only on, I think, episode 5. but it's really like filmed really well. It's just really cool. And then they're talking about those Brazilians. They know jiu-jitsu, and I'm like,
has Andre popped up yet?
Yeah, he has.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's like
Nice.
when you see it on the film and they're talking about jiu-jitsu, like like wow, it's really kind of nice.
Yeah.
Because you always hear Bruce Lee and karate and kung fu and all this other stuff, but like, I know it was in the Matrix though.
Well,
Keanu Reeves said, "I know
was-
jiu-jitsu."
It was just in the last movie, the John Wick
Wick.
2.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he does a normal plot on somebody. I'm like, what the?
Yeah,
Dude, yeah.
Like-
I haven't seen John Wick 2, but John Wick 1, there's a shit ton of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, there is.
Number 2,
Wait,
yeah, and
did 2
judo.
come out? 2 came
Yeah,
out
2
already?
came
Oh, I
out.
gotta see that.
He does like some droppy opponents. He drop seonagis. Like he does like arm bars, like collar chokes. He has an omoplata. He has somebody in a triangle. Which I always laugh, like Hollywood, how they vamp stuff up.
I know.
Puts the guy in a triangle, and he shoots the 2 other people, and then shoots the guy who's in his triangle.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah.
And there's a meme out there amongst the community where the guy's like in his triangle and he's also got like the gun pointed at his head.
Okay.
And the meme is like, when you're sick of guys stacking you in the triangle.
That's funny. Oh, I gotta see John Wick 2. Okay, I
Yeah,
didn't know
man.
that came out already.
I didn't know 2 came out either.
Oh, I was blown away by
That's
the amount
good.
of martial. I was like,
well, I know he
oh,
trains
man,
with
awesome.
Machado, right? Because I always
Yeah.
see on Machado's Instagram, like he always posts stuff with Keanu.
Yeah.
Or with
What is
about
he?
him.
Is he a blue belt?
I don't think so.
I don't know what he is. I know there's a few movie stars out there that train. I know I heard Ashton Kutcher
I heard
trains
he's a
with
blue
them.
belt.
I think he's a
Purple belt.
purple belt.
Oh, purple
yeah.
belt. Oh, I'm sorry, Ashton.
Yeah, and then so I know he's out there. So it's cool that it's gotten into Hollywood and stuff too, because
Yeah.
any publicity for jiu-jitsu that's like that is always good, and then that always makes my field and everybody to be able to succeed. It's difficult when you are doing something that nobody knows about and you're trying to make a living and struggle, and like I really enjoy like what I do. I love like teaching the kids. I love like getting kids in there that like have been bullied and stuff, and showing them, like, hey, look, your life doesn't have to be like this, but
Right.
we show you what you can do with
Right.
this, and it's a beautiful art, and it's based on science and physics, like, and it's
Didn't you put
proven.
that up on your Facebook page at one point? Like, to all the parents out there, if your child's ever been bullied, they get a free month at the academy.
Yeah, I put that out there.
That's really cool.
Like recently, because in my daughter's school, like I became aware of this bully incident that she had told me about, and so I talked to the parent of the kid who was being bullied, and I'm like, and I wasn't trying to get him into my school or anything, but I just told him, I was like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, my daughter's come back seeing it, bullying stuff, and then it made me think, I'm like, sometimes people are limited by cash or they don't want to take the venture stuff. So I'm like, I'm going to put it out there. I like to do that kind of stuff. So I said, anybody's being bullied, I'll just take your word for it. You come in, let's do a month of jiu-jitsu. The only stipulation is like, I want you to train her several times, a week,
Right.
so I can do something with you because, but I don't want money to get in the way of something like that.
That's
for
really
sure.
cool. man.
So
Did anyone take you up on that?
I've had a couple of people like contact me about that, and so I have some stuff scheduled in, but I haven't really had. I think sometimes people are shy,
Yeah.
But I think like, man, if all us jiu-jitsu gym owners started doing something like that,
Yeah.
like we could start to make an impact in this place,
Well, we could put together a program,
Yeah.
And then if everyone agrees to that program and, this is what we're doing and
It would be really cool. Yeah.
get the communities together, that'd be really nice. I mean, I was bullied when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
that's how I got into, at the time, was Jeet Kune Do, but
Yeah.
but it helped me out a lot.
Sure.
A lot.
Some kids learn boxing, go in a boxing gym,
Yeah.
learn boxing, but whatever it is, you got to.
The confidence it gives you
Yeah.
is just, it's...
Oh no, it's amazing.
great.
Like I mean, as I was a smaller kid because I was like I'm not super tall, like, so I was like a year ahead in just the way my birthday ended up. So then all the people in my class. So every once in a while somebody would end up, and I was a quiet kid, like more of like a bookworm. And once in a while somebody started messing with me, and I just ignored words, and all of a sudden they put their hands on me and be like, throw you with the Haraya Goshi, and people was like, what was that, Taekwondo? I was like, no, it's Judo, like.
Yeah.
So, and it helped me. And then everybody would see that and be like, okay, leave that dude alone.
Right.
Until like maybe 2 years later, somebody else new would come along and then try the same thing. But
Yeah.
it was awesome, because one of the things about jiu-jitsu that's gold is like that is the rolling. And Judo is like is like that training at full,
Right.
at 100%. And you just tap, if
Yeah.
you mess up, you just tap. But then when you go with somebody and you hit, I don't know if you ever play around or if some friends come in or you roll with a white belt that you doesn't know anything or stuff like that, you're like, man, It's like being in a pool. The guy doesn't know how to swim at all.
Yeah.
You just do whatever you want, you know.
Yeah.
So
I was rolling with this guy was, I don't know how long ago it was a while ago. This guy was just bodied up. I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be a tough roll. Like, he was just thick and he's muscular. I'm like, fuck. All right, dude, let's go. But he must have been a white belt. I was in no gi, but he must have been a white belt because I just had my way with him. I'm like, this is so fucking nice.
Yeah,
so nice.
It's incredible.
It's really. I was like, oh, I feel so good right now. That I just, like, he couldn't do, like, he literally couldn't outdo anything. I was just like, man, it's just, this is what it's about. It's so nice to be able to just look at somebody like, oh shit, but then no, that doesn't mean anything. All those muscles aren't going to help you.
Oh, and it's cool because everybody walking around in the street's a white belt.
Yeah, everybody.
Pretty much.
You never can take, you know, one thing I've learned is, like, man, you cannot judge a book by its cover. I've been in, like, you know, where I'm about to fight somebody, you know, like, you know, and step on the mat or whatever, and you got, like, huge straps, cauliflower ear, you know, like, tattoo on the face, you know, and you go in there and just, like, wipe the mat with them, and then all of a sudden, like, you got guys like the Meows that where they just, like, look like they're accountants or, like, IT guys, and then just beat the crap out of you, you know? It's like what's going on here? Like, this isn't the way the world was supposed to work.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, I had that experience, like, actually with just watching my daughter in the last tournament. She's 9 years old, and she was in the division that was 9 to 11, which could be a huge gap. And then it's boys mixed in too. Okay. So in her final match, she had, you know, she did great. You know, she won her match. She had a final match, and the boy is 11 years old, and he's a competitive wrestler. You know, strong kid too. But she was able to beat him with, like, the jiu-jitsu. Like, he scored a takedown, and, like, she, like, sprawled out and, like, kind of cross-faced him, and she got, like, long legs just wrapped around, body triangle.
Nice.
He caught one of his arms inside, just rear naked choke.
Beautiful.
Put him out. I was like, damn. I was like, I'm going to teach that to my adult guy. I was like, because she came out, I can't do it myself because my legs are too short for my weight class. But I was like, man, that's the beauty of jiu-jitsu. I'm like, so as my 9-year-old daughter is able to defend herself against, like, a boy who's older and as grappling trained. I was like, I love to see that kind of stuff.
It's fantastic.
It's easy when you got, like, when I got, like, my MMA guys who are, like, super tough or, like, are strong athletes, and I'm like, they beat the hell out of everybody and they win the tournament. I'm like, that's cool too. But I love to see, like, my 35-year-old student who's, like, an IT guy and has a bunch of kids, you know, or this girl who's a nurse, and the same thing as a mom has a bunch of kids, like, go in there and all of a sudden, like, win, or like tap out some 20-year-old dudes, and they're like, oh geez. Yeah. You'd be like, you just got tapped out by a 40-year-old, you know, nurse, like, or somebody who's be like, we won't tell nobody. Let's keep it between ourselves, like, you know. So it's awesome. It's awesome. Like, the sport's beautiful. Like, it's truly an art, you know, and it's a living art. It's always increasing and growing, like. And always learning new stuff every day, you know. Always learning new stuff.
Now you get a lot of time in Comprido. You still go out there and train with him?
Yeah, you know, he's been yelling at me lately because I haven't got a chance to go out there lately. I've had a lot of stuff going on at home and that, but typically we go out there, and as the black belts, we'd meet during the day, like one day a week, and so we train pretty hard, you know. Like, we go into class and, like, we do our rolls, and you know, so it'd be great because it'd be, you know, like 6 black belts, you know, 6 of us, like, who are all competitors going against each other. You leave there, it's like a mini tournament, you know. So you need, like, the whole day. Then you have to teach classes. You're just dying, like, the rest of the day.
Yeah. Now, do you have open mat by you at your school?
Yeah, I do. I have open mats. Like, I have open mat on Friday. There's always open mat at the end of my classes.
Like, open to anybody
can come anytime. You know, I don't discriminate against, like, I don't want to let people from our school if you're there. So anybody from any school anytime, always, my place is welcome, you know. That's awesome. I have the schedule up, you know, and I have, like, you know, there's been people come in from many different places. It's very cool. For the most part, like 99% of the time, 0.9, you know, like, is jiu-jitsu people are really chill and respectful. Yeah. You know, and so I had, like, a fun kind of experience, like, a few years ago, like, in Vegas. I train sometimes. I go to one fight team to train. One of my friends used to be an instructor there, and Randori Silva was, like, an idol of mine. And I told him, like, man, you're teaching there? I'm like, I'm coming because I want to talk to Randori. Nicest guy you could ever meet in the world. I mean, he was telling jokes. Like, I was there with my friend here, and he's like, and Comprido at the time was helping train Vandalay and stuff too. And he knows we're from Comprido's, and he's like, goes to my friend here. He's like, you know, Comprido teaches you all these cool techniques, but you still tie your belt like a nerd. And it was just hilarious to hear Vandalay say that, you know.
Right.
And we're all dying of laughter. And he like takes my friend's
Was it the
belt
super
up.
knot by chance?
He had like the high rise, you know. Like,
Okay,
I gotcha.
You know, he had.
Come on, man.
Yeah, so
That's just making fun of Zito with the super knot.
I tie my belt. I use a super knot to tie my
did.
belt. All right, and he makes fun of me all the time.
Yeah, that's like the tie that people do when they're like posing for like a gi ad.
do you do the tuck in the flaps and the whole
I don't.
nine
Take it,
yards?
I just
Okay.
I just do around once and then come up and then shoot from both sides, nice
Yeah.
and straight, nice. Even
Yeah,
on
but
both sides.
the flaps come through.
Yeah, they come through. Yes,
They come through the
Oh,
tube.
okay.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
come through,
it's
Right.
whatever.
no black belt has ever tied their belt like that.
Wow. In 10 years, I'll be the first.
Okay,
Hey, times are changing. You
That's
never
right.
know, man. Yeah,
that's funny. He's a nice guy though, huh? He seems like
the nicest guy in the world. Yeah,
Yeah.
Seems like a
not
murderer.
nice. Yeah.
he seemed, you know, he was like cracking us up with jokes, like super, you know, no ego, like, you know, and just really, really nice, really welcoming guy. Like in there, I was really taken aback. I was like, wow, man. I'm like, this guy can turn you into dust in a few seconds. Like, he's pretty cool. Like, and he was like, we were there competing this weekend, and I'm like, I think it was like a Thursday, and I had to compete on Saturday. He's like, man, just like, you know, he knows I did MMA. He's like, just do an MMA class here, and I'm like, dude, I was like, Vandalay, I'm like, I got to compete Saturday, but it's like, you can't say no to Vandalay, you know? So it's like, okay. He's like, it's not, the class is not bad. It's like the warm-ups were like 5 3-minute rounds of just the person taking you down on the cage and you just getting back up, taking you down. That was the beginning of
That's the
that.
beginning. You're like, oh, what'd I do?
Yeah. But it was really cool. It was, everybody in there is super nice, and I had a great experience there, and also visited Robert Drysdale School. He's just an awesome and amazing jiu-jitsu player and teacher. Like, he's just the way his brain just looks at that stuff is awesome. I've gotten, you know, come across Kyotera too. I've had him out at my school, and he's part of Team Brazza, so come across him, and that's just a whole nother, you know, dimension of jiu-jitsu, the way that he plays, and, you know, the way he goes into it. And it's nice. I love having Comprido here, like, because, you know, you got like a top level guy, you know, like, it's a little bit of a drive, but nothing really when what you're getting for it.
Right.
Yeah, I try to tell people, I'm like, sometimes people are deciding like, oh, how much does your gym cost, and how, you know, how far? Oh, well, there's this other place that's 15 minutes away. Like, you know, you're 20 minutes away. I'm like, man, I used to drive to Buffalo Grove like an hour and 20 minutes for the Olympic coaches. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you get what you pay for. You know,
It's true. Yeah.
So, you know, sometimes people price shop and things like that, but it's the value that comes from it is, and I tell people, I'm like, once you learn the jiu-jitsu, nobody can take that away from you. You become a black belt in jiu-jitsu, like, you just graduated with a degree. You can open up a school. You can make money. You don't even have to be a black belt nowadays to have all those things. But you know, I've had a lot of cool experiences. You know, with people, like, you know, so it's been nice. And the jiu-jitsu community, believe it or not, in 2004, the Pan Ams used to be so small that I think it would finish. I can't remember if it finished in a day and a half or just one day, but they would throw an after party.
Oh, really?
Okay, yeah. So they would throw an after party at this club, and the guy who owns Jiu-Jitsu Pro Gear, a little store down there, he would throw it, and so you'd be at this after party. It was like a dance club, but they just let anybody in. It was like, because Cohen and Kira Gracie was in there, and like they were 19, you know, and so be sitting there drinking. Like Marcelo would, you know, be there, Garcia, you know, and Sal and all the like big names of jiu-jitsu, which was like kind of weird to see. That's how tight knit that was.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
I went back there not too long ago, and the guy who runs that store, and I told him, I was like, remember you used to throw those parties? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, I go, man, too bad they don't have one. He's like, should we throw another party there? I was like, good luck, man. You better run to a big place, because last time I was in Pans, it was like a 4-day event. Like,
Yeah.
like 20 times the amount of people showing up. But cool stuff, you know, like I love the jiu-jitsu world.
Yeah. I hear the natives getting restless out there.
I do. but-
You're playing pool now?
Yeah, before we wrap it, a fan of the show, David McAndrew, reached out to me, and he knew that you were coming on, and he wanted me to ask you about Blaine Bonkins.
What was that?
Blaine Bonkins. Okay, so he's an alter ego of one of my students, and so we do this towards like, you know, new guys kind of coming in, and like, you know, young guys like who are like, you know, I'm getting into jiu-jitsu, and so he friends request him under this alter ego, Blaine Bonkins, and be like, "What's up, bro?" You know, he's like, you know, do you even like lift? You know, and like questions like that. And just
right.
messes with them. You know, he's like, yeah, I want to work on my donkey card next time. I'm dropping by your school, man. I'm gonna be looking, and people are like, who is this guy? And
So he's a troll.
He's a troll.
jiu-jitsu
Right?
troll.
He's a jiu-jitsu troll. So you never quite see his face. His icon will change many times, but you never see his face. He's
Did
like,
we just blow up his spot?
you know, there's just like, I think he is still. He's got a couple more. I think alter egos out there.
He's got a backup.
Yeah, he's got some backups, you know. But
That's funny.
I just get a good laugh seeing him like, this person totally took the bait. They're like, who are you, man? Go ahead, come to the school and roll.
Yeah, let's roll.
Be like,
Yeah.
Leo, who is this guy? I'm like,
We're
I don't
getting
know,
Dojo
man.
Storm today by Blaine Bonkins.
And I once in a while just egg it on because I'll be like, hey, man. I'd be like, you're doing great, dude. Just keep it up. You know, man, that armbar you showed was awesome. You know? People are like, who is this guy?
That's pretty funny, man.
Yes, it's a joke that we do, you know, towards
That's funny.
beginners and new guys, you know. They're fun.
So where can people find you?
People can find me online and at my school, Randori Jiu Jitsu. You can look up randorijujitsu.com. Randori spelled Randori, Jiu-Jitsu, JITSU.com. I'm located in Orland Park. I'm available to teach seminars, birthday parties, jiu-jitsu parties. But you know, I love all kinds of different things. You know, I love coaching, doing MMA stuff too. So people are interested in anything like that. I teach anything from kids as young as 3 to like pro fighters to guys as old as 60. You know, private lessons, group classes, etc.
Cool.
You know, and I also want to throw a shout out to my sponsors, Breakpoint, who were awesome, and they've started sponsoring me a few years back, and just like awesome support, like, you know, with these guys and trying to make all my jiu-jitsu dreams happen. So it's really cool. Yeah, they've been really, really generous with me, and it's nice to have somebody that puts faith in you, you know, because I came from a world where it was like nobody knew what you were talking about to now, like, you know, people respecting you know, what we're trying to do. So it's cool to have somebody out there doing that and helping me. But
It's cool.
I appreciate you guys
Instagram.
having
What's your
me.
Instagram feed?
My Instagram is Randori JJ.
Cool.
So you can find me on Randori JJ, and I'm on Facebook as Randori Jiu Jitsu. You can see the school, message us.
Nice, man. Well,
you know,
we appreciate you coming out, man.
Hey man,
It's
it was a
awesome,
pleasure.
man.
Thank
It's
you
great
very
meeting
much.
you.
I'm real honored to be here with you guys, and you guys got top notch stuff. I love it. I had a lot of fun here with you guys.
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All
Bye.
right, guys. Good luck tomorrow. Bye.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Grappler Union. Siri, how can our listeners find out more info?
For more information about Grappler Union, you can visit them on the web at grapplerunion.com or follow them on Instagram and on Twitter at Grappler Union. Like them on Facebook at facebook.com/Grappler Union. Also be sure to subscribe on iTunes. All episodes are available on the Grappler Union YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe. Anthony, I really enjoyed the podcast. Can't wait to hear the next one.
Thanks, Siri.